Hi, I'm Chris Sputo. I'm the principal at Leverett Elementary in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Leverett is a pre-K through 4 elementary, and we butt right up against the University of Arkansas, which gives us this incredible, unique, I call it the world under one roof. And so we have all this culture in our building. Had been noticing even in prior schools that I was in that just these social skills in students coming to us were just really beginning to lack, and that we really needed to work on starting to teach this. And so I started a conversation in our team meetings, hey, with teachers, what do you guys see in this area? What are your observations just off cuff? And pretty much universally, everyone said, yeah, we need to, we've got kids that are lacking in these areas, but then we've got kids that are, great in these areas. So I asked for some teachers to maybe start piloting and looking at some curriculum that we could potentially use maybe for the next year. And so I just had some volunteer teachers that came to a meeting, and we had my leadership team had already kind of flushed out some of the curriculum that we thought was good. And so we looked over several of those, and those teachers then picked some curriculum that they wanted to try. So that was a semester of just kind of piloting some of the lessons with the kids and getting feedback from the teachers. And the teachers that piloted it, and they volunteered to teach it, really liked it, reported out to the rest of the staff how they felt about the curriculum, how they thought it was going. And so then at the end of that first year, I pulled together a team of a representative of one teacher per grade level, one encore teacher, special education. And so we had representation from all of the areas of our staff to build the master schedule. One of the things that we always do when we build that master schedule is say, what are our priorities? Because we want to make sure that our master schedule is supporting those priorities. And so the thing that came out from that meeting was that social and emotional learning was a high priority. So we said, okay, we're gonna designate time in our master schedule to do that. So everyone's going to teach it, and everyone's going to have this 20-minute period of time to teach it. Now, that's not to say that you can't incorporate it throughout the day, but we're going to designate intentional time to teach specific lessons in social emotional learning. So that started the culture. Then we had to pick the curriculum. We chose Choose Love. It's free and it's good. And then we purchased the DESA system because we thought, okay, so we're going to be teaching this, but then how do we know if it's working or not? So then we did some research on, well, what are some different assessments? And the Devereaux came out as something that has been used for many years to measure that social and emotional learning for children. So we purchased that, and that came with curriculum as well. So we got a win there with, we have Choose Love curriculum, and we have the Aperture system curriculum as well. So it gave us a little more flexibility with how we could teach rather than just those universal lessons from Choose Love. What we found is that, our teachers, maybe things are different now, but 4 years ago, none of our teachers had ever been trained. I wasn't trained in social and emotional learning. I didn't know how to teach it. And so finding a curriculum that works for you, we found a scripted curriculum because nobody knew how to teach it. And so it was like, okay, we can go ahead and launch our social emotional learning initiative, teach it, and learn it at the same time because it's a scripted curriculum. And then we can get more familiar and better at teaching it as we go. Who's going to teach those tier 2 and tier 3 kids that I talked about earlier? And so with that common time in our master schedule, like I said, our encore teachers they're not teaching any of those classes. So they were available to push in to a class or pull out. So when we first start teaching, and we haven't done that assessment, but we're just kind of teaching the regular lessons, all of our instructional aides, all of our encore teachers, they will push into classrooms and be in there just to kind of hear the lessons so that they're also learning the language that's being taught to the kids. So encore is our rotation of art, music, PE, library, and guidance counseling. So we designated, say the art teacher would go to the second grade classroom or one of the second grade classrooms and be in there with the kids. But then when that data came out and there were tier 2 kids, let's say all around goal setting, those small group lessons, she could go ahead and pull. So we would have a meeting with our counselor and our encore teachers and our instructional assistants and kind of look at that data and say, okay, this group of kids needs this skill, this group of kids needs this skill. And the encore teachers and this instructional assistants would say, okay, well, that group of kids I've got a relationship with, so I'm going to take them. And so we kind of, structured it so that the kids who were in those small groups were familiar with the teacher or the instructional assistant. I did have some teachers who just kind of say, you know what, this is a bunch of hooey. I already teach this. I incorporate it every day into my curriculum. And yes, there's no doubt that we do that, but it's not intentional because we haven't been trained. So we want to be, just like literacy and math, very intentional about the skills that we teach. And so that's kind of how I approached that with some teachers who were like, no, I need academics only. Well, you're not going to get to the academics if you have a kid in crisis all the time. And we need to address those emotional skills, or the academics are never going to come.